for a second week in a row. It didn't freeze. I wish I knew why that was. I would make sure it happened every week. Excuse me, I'm just going to take the pastiness out of my appearance by faffing around with this camera settings a little bit. There we go. I think that's a little bit better. Let's also point the camera up. For some reason, that always seems to help. There, is that a bit dim now? Let's just sort that out. There we go. We'll settle for that, I think. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning. Happy beer o'clock wherever you are in the world. It's Friday, it's 5 o'clock, and it's time for one of these. Oh, this week, once again, there was a substitute on the grocery order, so it is the Stella Artois, the wife beater, what does Mickey Flanagan calls it? He says, I'd had a few cans of do as you're told. Unfair kind of reputation, but it's not. I know a lot of people, what's this now, 4.6%? It's gone down in percentage, hasn't it? I think that's something to do with the duty that they have to pay on it. I don't know. All I can tell you is it's cold, it's beery tasting, and it's going to get the job done. So there we go. Right. So, yes, let's, as is the tradition, have a little bit of a look at, the chat, see who was first in. Grandpa Joe first in this way. That's a first for Grandpa Joe, isn't it? Normally, Grandpa Joe leaves a little bit of a longer message, but I think he wanted to be first in this week, so he kept it down to just greetings. Well, greetings back to you, mate. Hope you're having a great weekend, and hope it's the weather is treating you nice as well. Then we've got Steve Hale, Terry Day, who said, "What's your rhythm video?" And it looked like you used your injured finger a lot. Am I wrong, or was it just the chords you use, or are you getting a bit more movement back? No more movement in it, mate. What I have got, or what has gone, I should say, is the sensitivity. It was really kind of sensitive to touch, not painful, just tender to touch, so I couldn't really use it for a while, but that's gone. But I've got no more movement. I've got just about enough of an angle on the finger that I can get it onto the neck for playing bar chords, but in terms of full usage, that is I think gone for good. Then we've got Rent to Kill, we've got Dave Fiendish, we've got Joe McMurray, Timbo, Johnny Random is in, so is Peter Nicholson, Ben Allmark, Balder64, Rubbish Guitar Bloke, Relaxing Meditation is in, PFY Guitars, there's Grandpa Joe's longer message, waiting for heavy rain in New York City from Hurricane Debbie moving through west of us. I do wish everyone a happy and safe weekend. Same to you, mate. Hope you escape the worst effects of the weather there. Then we've got Peter Collins, Autogeddon 1, John Mack, Tom Clark, Bev Doyle is in, and so is Theme Tunes. Then we've got John Ross, Frank Bolam, Sean House, Steve Entwistle, Maria Muggs Davis, Silent Hybrid, Malcolm Spillett, and Paul Trainer BSC. Bringing up the rear there, we've got Randy Upchurch, Dr. Gomez 1, Peter S. Chip Young, and Gordo Canuck. Let's scroll down a bit further. Who else we got? We've got Stuart Young and Johnny D. There's Anton Deco Dude, Bill Mumbo, and Gary Shaw is in. Paul Trainer, I've just noticed a super chat there. Thank you so much, mate. Very much appreciated. You are a gentleman, sir. And Calby and the Rocco Cat is in. So is David Evans and Chris Otterwell. Dave Snack Stevens is in. And so is Thomas Mulvaney. And let's have a little bit of a scroll further down. There's Nathan and Jamal123, Ravensmead, Jed Ellis, Blue Sofa Songs, the Essex Cat, Colin Falcon is there, and so is 60s Man, Rexomatic. Where are you this week, Rex? Good morning, everyone. We're just headed out on the road this week. Plan to stop at one of our favourite guitar shops in Music Villa in Bozeman, Montana, on our way back to Phoenix. Nothing quite like a road trip and a visit to a guitar emporium, is there? Then there's John Channing, and who else? There's Ian Clark and Cal Texper. Scrolling down a bit further, J. Ao Young and Triple Distilled. There's Andy Nisbet, Peter Goddard, and Steve Cassidy. Don't forget Steve's video straight after this live stream. Watched your live from last night, Steve, this morning as I was just catching up on a little bit of admin downstairs. Had you on the TV, had the laptop on my knee, and what an entertaining 90 minutes it made. Shame about your camera gremlins though, mate, but you seem to have got the knack of fixing it on the fly now. There's Edwin Toonan is in, and Stevie Mack. Brad Dowler's there, John Little, Guitar Bass Dude, Chris Smith, The Daler 22, and who else have we got? I think I've said all of these. Dinger 63, nice to see you, mate, and Dudley Squat. Let's have a look. 74 Jailbreak, and I wonder what your favourite album is. I wonder if I could guess. Then there's Sargi is in, so is Jim Brennan Guitar and Robin Fawcett. Dallas Toto, nice to see you in, mate. Dallas is my mate across the pond. We regularly have a chat on Zoom, and it's supposedly a guitar lesson, but inevitably it just ends up us being two grumpy old men kind of setting the world to rights. We try and get some guitar tuition in along the way, though. Who else have we got? Let's have a look. There's Ivor, and I think that might be a Budget Pedal chap. Nice to see you, mate. Yeah, by the time he gets to Phoenix, he'll have a new guitar, I bet. Yes. I said this before, when I'm sat here blethering away in a little converted back bedroom in the kind of back end of nowhere out in the sticks on the northeast coast of England, and I'm sort of chatting to people from Phoenix and New York City and all of these places that are so romanticized in song lyrics that I've heard over the years. I still have to pinch myself. Anyway, Simon Rice is in. What are you saying there, mate? A new music shop is opening near me selling Levinson Scepter guitars for $299. Does anyone have any experience of them? Levinson Scepter, I don't know, but I do know that in the 80s, the Levinson Blade guitar was quite the boutique sort of Strat. It was sort of, Tom Anderson kind of desirability, shall we say, before Tom Anderson really was a thing. Then in the 90s, they did some sort of brief partnership with Patrick Eggle, didn't they? And then I didn't really hear much of them since. I suspect it's just the brand has been bought by somebody that is now manufacturing guitars under that name in, one of the big, or contracting it out to one of the big kind of, I don't know, Court or Wildwood or Fujigen or any of those big factories out in the Far East. So I don't have any personal experience of them, but you have to work really hard to buy a bad guitar these days, don't you? There's Stephen Hedger is in, and I believe that is everyone. If I've missed you, I am so sorry. As I keep saying, this is just a one-man operation here. I miss stuff in the chat all the time because unlike, the big proper YouTubers, your Rick Beatos of this world, I don't have kind of half a dozen Santa's little helpers keeping an eye on things. It's just me beer, and whatever is going through my mind at the time. That said, I do have a couple of things to talk about tonight that I've made notes. First of all, big congratulations to Johnny from Budget Guitar Show for that Flying V build that he did. A shame that not all of the parts fitted correctly, but hopefully that kind of feedback will get back to the kit manufacturers, and it will be remedied. But it's not for the first. I keep promising to do a kit build, don't I? And I always end up saying I don't have the time. But it's just another kind of kit build video that sort of rekindled the fire. It will be something I'll get round to sooner or later. You know what you're like when you think about buying a guitar. Once you've got that sort of, that missile lock, and you're kind of fixated on it, it's just a case of eventually you'll do it. It's just a question of when, not if. Well, I get that sort of feeling with a kit build guitar. So nice one, Johnny. A nice little project you've done there. And don't forget Johnny's his live stream on Sunday, and the Sunday sessions. I don't normally watch it live because I'm usually occupied with other things, but usually every Monday morning I'm sat in here with a slight trace of a hangover, it needs to be said, and getting on with tabbing something out or working on something for YouTube. And while I'm working on that machine there, I've usually got Johnny's live stream on replay on here. And of course, as I said earlier, Steve Cassidy, don't forget his shenanigans that's going on after this video, after this live stream, rather, 6 p.m. UK time. Better tell you what's coming up on the channel this week, hadn't I? It's Sunday's video is that little teeny tiny Ibanez that you saw me doing a first impressions of yesterday. Sunday's video is the full kind of in-depth review of that. Then Monday, as ever, a solo analysis. Just want to put I'll tell you what the solo analysis is in a moment, but I just want to put it out there that I've noticed more so than usual recently that those solo analysis videos are not the best performing videos that I put out. I tend to think of them as a bit of a calling card. To get people emailing me for kind of one-to-one lessons or that kind of thing. That's the reason I do them, rather than for any sort of sense of, the views they get on YouTube. Is everyone still okay with me doing those Monday solo analysis videos? Or would you prefer some other form of guitar tuition related content? The reason I say guitar tuition related content, because I don't want to pull those videos and then just put something else in its place where there wouldn't be any kind of tabs or jam tracks or anything like that for my lovely Patreon supporters. If you would like me to kind of maybe, because I've been doing these solo analysis videos for a good 5 years, and sometimes it is a bit of a head scratcher for me to think, which solo I'm going to do this week. So let me know in the chat. I'll keep the solo analysis. Great, ace. Okay. I'll keep an eye on what's going on in the chat. I might put a poll up in the community tab anyway, just to kind of quantify it a little bit more. Anyway, Monday's solo analysis is the solo from the first track on what I'm already going to call is the album of the year. And it's been really low key in terms of its launch, or maybe I'm just leaving a sheltered existence and not kind of keeping myself in the loop. But Slash has done a blues album. Slash. It's not Slash and the Conspirators with Miles Kennedy and all of that crew. It's just this separate little side project blues band that he's got with a bunch of guest artists: Chris Stapleton, Billy Gibbons. I think. Who else is on there? Chris Robinson is on there as well. Someone called Dorothy, who I have no idea who Dorothy is, but she's got a cracking set of pipes on her, and they do a fantastic version of the old Big Bill Broomsy song, which I kind of learned as a Derek and the Dominoes, from the Derek and the Dominoes cover, Key to the Highway. Great version of that. Crossroads is on there. Paul Rogers is on the album as well. The album's called Orgy of the Damned, and as I say, it's a solo from that album. Balder 64 observing that Dorothy has a lot of friends. Indeed, yes, I know where you're going with that, mate. So yes, that's the Monday solo. from that new Slash album. Then Tuesday, anybody who watches this channel for long enough knows where my musical centre of gravity is. It's blues-based classic rock. That's kind of me. That's I'm not really into the kind of shreddy metal sort of stuff. I like blues-based, catchy, melodic classic rock with occasional forays into something that might be a bit that might be a little bit kind of jazzy. What are you saying there, Dale? How about some Robin Trower? Brilliant guitarist. I've got some Robin Trower in the pipeline, mate. I've got, like, when I'm thinking about doing a guitar solo for the Monday thing, it's like I'll get locked onto an artist and then I'll create like a short list of different solos and get kind of whittle it down to what's going to be feasible to do, what's going to, how much work is going to be involved, given that I'm quite busy and I have a sort of tight schedule. But yes, Robin Trower is something by him will be appearing at some point, probably towards the autumn, because that's how far in front I am with the videos. But yes, classic blues-based melodic rock is where I'm at. But I didn't start off that way. I didn't really get into that style of music until I was sort of in my early adolescence. The kind of 11, 12, 13, from there on about onwards. That's when I really started taking notice of the styles of music that I'm into now. So what was I listening to before that? Well, you're going to find out on Tuesday. Top five childhood bands I've got written down here. Then on Wednesday, another rhythm guitar lesson. We're going to be looking at a vital strumming technique. If you get this strumming technique wrong that we're going to be looking at on Wednesday, then it will just absolutely put the kibosh on anything rhythm guitar related that you play. It is just an essential skill, and it's essentially a case of avoiding a bad habit that many people get into, and then I've actually had students give up because they've got this bad habit so entrenched. So that's what we're looking at on Wednesday. Then on Thursday, I told you I was going to be getting one of these, pulling the trigger on one of these, the TC Electronic Jim's 45 pedal, essentially a Marshall JTM 45 in pedal form for 100 quid. Or less. Is that going to be too good to be true? Well, you're going to find out with my first impressions video on this on Thursday. Spoiler alert, it's really bloody good. But you'll find out just how good it is on Thursday. And that's what's coming up on the channel this week, and I just need to top my glass up. So talk amongst yourselves, as I know you do it anyway. Yes, indeed. Just keeping an eye on the chat. Everybody obviously get ready to type the word flake. Although this Stella is, it's not as lively a pour as the Heineken. No, that's going to be the anti-flake, isn't it? That's. But I don't care. It's cold and beery, and it's got alcohol in it. And that, being a simple lad, is about the list of my requirements for this time on a Friday. Let's have a little bit of a look at what's going on in the chat, because I've missed an awful lot while I've been blethering. Johnny D is saying, someone on the Squire forums referenced your Tone Rider Tele Pickups YouTube video from a year ago. They sound great. I'm very tempted. Mate, yeah. In terms of Telecaster pickups, my favourite are those custom shop Nocaster pickups that were in that 60th anniversary telly that I reviewed a few weeks ago. But before that, my favourite Telecaster pickups were the Seymour Duncan Alnico Blues. What was it? Seymour Duncan Alnico Pro 2. That's the one. I had those in a Fender Light Ash Telecaster many, many years ago. Great sounding pickups. And those Tone Riders, for a fraction of the cost, about half the cost, I suppose, just they sound like my memory of the of those Seymour Duncans. A worthy upgrade to any Telecaster, I would say. Let's see what else I've missed. Does Dorothy need some sort of shoulder holster for said pipes? No, I don't know. I don't know who Dorothy is. It's just, it's like you look down the track listing of that Slash album, and it's like, kind of featuring Billy F. Gibbons. I love the way they put F in Billy F. Gibbons, because you might confuse him with, any of the thousands of other Billy Gibbons who play guitar. Same with Yngwie J. Malmsteen, isn't it? Yeah, we wouldn't have known who you were if you hadn't put the middle initial in there. But Billy Gibbons, Paul Rogers, Chris Stapleton, Chris Robinson, and all the other people. And then there's just this Dorothy, no surname. So I don't know who she is, but she can carry a tune. I think I've scrolled up to the point where I started blethering, so I don't think I've missed anything up there. How Long by Ace, another nice solo. Yeah, that's a great song. Paul Carrack, what a singer. And let's have another little bit of a look. Anti-Flake, yes. Daniel Scott saying, I've done 4 kits now, planning more. Great fun. Yep. That's the thing. I suspect it would be addictive. My only kind of reservation with doing a kit build is that I don't know if you've seen, I haven't seen anything from this guy in absolutely donkey's years, but there used to be a great guitar channel called Guns and Guitars. And he was just this young American chap who used to live in a motorhome and build guitars. And he also had a bit of a thing for, firearms, obviously, which, to us Brits is something of, well, it's just not part of our culture over here, but, you guys are into that sort of stuff. So, I'm not going to pass judgment, but, he used to build guitars from kits. He used to do kit build guitars. And the thing he would always say is basically, buy the best kit you can afford and then throw away all of the electronics and hardware because they're going to be junk. So by the time and then replace those if you want something that's going to be a pro quality instrument. So by the time you've done that, you've basically just kind of thrown everything away except the timber. Then, is it really economical to build it to do a kit build? I think you just, kind of then into it for the hobby of doing it. Steve Cassidy, you're saying, could a Jims versus Blug be in the works? You never know, mate. You never know. There might be a video. I might have shot it already and uploaded it and scheduled it and tabbed out the resulting piece of music. I'm just saying, keep your eyes peeled. Gary Shaw met Gary Levinson at a trade show, bought number 5, used it for hundreds of sessions over a couple of decades. Sold it to my guitar tech. I don't know why. Oh, the one that got away, yes. The guitar that you're thinking, I haven't played that in a few months and I've got a new shiny toy in the box. I'll sell that one. And then immediately, you regret it. I've been there, mate. I've been there. Kevin Davis. Hello, John. Blobby here. I've just seen a video on Blondie called Debbie Does Dallas, not the guitar. Oh, yes, indeed. I think I may know the type of cinematographic presentation that you refer to. It used to be called a gentleman's special interest film, didn't it? I saw one of those once, and I'll tell you this now, I don't think they were real nurses, Anyway, Daniel Scott saying, I've started using Tone Rider pickups, great sound and value, indeed. Budget pedal chap, I think the J stands for Jingve. More is more, YJM, yes. Is Dorothy from Kansas? If somebody's got a spare tab open on Mr. Google or something, I suppose I could do it if I was that bothered. But if you're interested, I'm sure if you kind of just Google Dorothy rock singer, then we can find out more information on her. It's a little bit, I think it's a little bit, kind of presumptuous, though, isn't it? Like, it's. When you get to that sort of level of stardom where you only need to use your first name, like Elvis is a case in point, then fair enough. But it's but it needs to be a distinctive name as well, doesn't it? But I mean, I had an auntie called Dorothy. I don't think it's her. Dorothy Martin, according to Google. Okay. Well, as I say, take a listen to that Slash album, Orgy of the Damned. Go and dial it up on Spotify or Apple Music or wherever you stream your music, or you could go old school and just actually go out and buy it on CD, or you could go really properly old school and and live through the misery of vinyl all over again and buy it on vinyl. Do you remember that, having a kind of blue tack, a 2p piece to the top of the stylus so that it didn't jump out of the groove? And every time you listen to your record, you are actively consuming it and wearing it out, so eventually you've got to buy it again. Rexomatic saying, have I played a Gibson SG special with P90s, hoping to check one out this week? I've played the Epiphone one, mate. A good pal of mine called David, who is something of a guitar collector. He's a busy chap, and he gets in touch every now and again to just say, I've got this, do you want to borrow it? And over the years, he's loaned me a HH Fender Telecaster Player Series, a beautiful Godin Fifth Avenue, a Gibson ES something or other, a vintage Gibson ES. I can't remember the model number because I'm useless with that sort of thing, but essentially a 1950s hollow body arch top single pickup kind of guitar, beautiful guitar. He's loaned me a bunch of guitars over the years. You might recall that in the very sort of early days of this channel, I did a video on indie guitars. And had a look at one of their really rather Liberace, opulent-looking PRS copies. That belonged to him as well. And he loaned me, the Epiphone kind of P90 SG in that sort of chemical spill shade of green. That I don't know, something. Even though Francis Rossi is one of my favourite guitar players for, kind of sentimental reasons, growing up listening to Status Quo. And even though I lusted after his green Telecaster, that's about the only green guitar that I really have any sort of great affection for. I don't normally like green guitars for some reason. So let's have a look. Tom Clark saying Kinsman pickups. I think you mean Kinman pickups. Yeah, they are good pickups, but they're a bit pricey, aren't they? Gordo Cannock's going to say, are we ever going to get a Dougal showing? He's not really allowed in this room. There are far too many things in here that he would think, I'll chew that. Cables, plectrums, and, kind of, anything really, guitars for that matter. I've got a Dougal story to tell you, actually. Where are we now? We're half an hour in. I'll just tell you this Dougal story, and then we'll take a look at the guitar pictures that have been sent in. He had to go to the vets yesterday to get his nails trimmed because he's almost like Wolverine. He can just kind of go zoom like that, and his nails just grow. And since they closed our local vets, we have to go to the one in the next town, which is, it's if you've got a car, it's no problem. We don't, so we have to get a taxi there. So you've got to book a taxi well in advance to make sure that you get a driver who's cool with you having a dog in the car. Anyway, we got there. And if you've ever owned a pet and been in a vet's waiting room, you know that there's always that one annoying customer with a dog that won't stop whimpering and shouting and barking and kind of just creating chaos. The little bowl of water that's there for the other dogs, that gets tipped over. You know that customer? Well, that was me yesterday. Okay, at Mask Vets in Mask by the Sea, just near Redcar, and so he's creating havoc, and I'm trying to calm him down and everything. He's just stressed because he doesn't like being at the vets, basically. Anyway, they take him into the kind of little consulting room, and it's only a nail trim, so it's just the veterinary nurse that's doing it, and they take him in, and all I can hear from outside in the waiting room is, "No, Dougal, don't do that. No, Dougal, that hurt. Stop it, Dougal, stop it, stop it. Dougal, no, you don't. Stop it, Dougal." And then about 10 minutes later, a rather frazzled-looking nurse came out with Dougal kind of running at 100 miles an hour, but standing still because he's on the lead, And she says, "I'm afraid he got a little bit too stressed, so we could only do his front claws. You'll need to bring him back for a follow-up appointment when we can. We were going to do his booster jabs today, but I don't really think that's a good idea given how worked up he is. We can give you some medication to give to him, which will calm him down. So that's another 40 quid that I've got to pay for. I pay like a monthly fee to this vet, so he gets things like booster jabs and nail trims and regular health checks for free. But no, I've got to pay another 40 quid for these tranquilizer tablets that he's got to have before he goes in next. It's like, it's like, please give him these tablets so that, we can survive it. Just to give you, see that let's bring this up I'll show you, I'll pick the camera up. That scratch on the arm, that was Dougal. The other day, I'd been out to go and run an errand, and he, as I came back in, he jumped up and he was all friendly and wagging his tail and everything. And that was when I realised that he needed his nails clipping. So there you go. That's the wonderful Dougal this week. That's his story. Poor Dougal, offer him a treat, poor dog. He is just a very nervous, highly strung dog, and that's just in his nature. And as I've said before, he has two speeds, Tasmanian Devil and Sloth. Anyway, shall we have a look at some guitar pictures from the wonderful, wonderful viewers of this channel? I'm just going to cue this up and come back and go into the screen share mode. So we go share screen, and here we go. So this is a beautiful Tokai Telecaster, which I believe in Tokai parlance, a Telecaster style guitar. Don't they call it the breezy sound? But lovely looking, just lovely looking colour. This is from 1983. Very, very clean looking example. And yeah, this is, it's a bit something. I was just kind of browsing on eBay earlier, and there are Tokai Les Paul copies or Love Rocks that are fetching more used than some brand new Gibson Les Pauls, which says a lot about their quality, doesn't it? Then Dave Lewis makes another appearance. This is his Epiphone Joan Jett signature. You've got to be, I think really you have to either just be in love with the aesthetic of that guitar, with the kind of its wings clipped on the headstock there. They do that, so they can kind of cut the neck out of one blank without having to add on the wings, and therefore it's a cost saving thing. And that's the way that, this Melody Maker was originally made. You had the Les Paul, then you had the Les Paul Special, then you had the Les Paul Junior for the people who couldn't afford the Les Paul or the Les Paul Special, and then you had the Melody Maker for the people who couldn't afford anything any of the higher tiers. And this is the one that Joan, well, not this particular one, but this is the model of guitar that Joan Jett routinely played and still plays, I believe. And Dave has got the Epiphone version of it, which I remember Trogley's video about this, and he was singing his praises quite vociferously. So, I think that's possibly why Dave got, or maybe you're just a big Joan Jett fan, Dave. Then Dave Roberts, E-Art or ERT Corsair, talking about guitars ones that got away. I had one of these, I used it on the channel a little bit, and I just never really bonded with it for some reason. I can't tell you why. The necks on these things are absolutely gorgeous, stainless steel frets. The pickups on them, I thought, I didn't like the pickups on any of the E-Art guitars that I had, but pickups are easy to swap out, which is exactly what I did. I just never really bonded with mine, but it is, sort of a, maybe I should have kept it kind of moment. And just seeing that one there with that beautiful finish, it's, it's, no, I don't need another Telecaster. I don't need another Telecaster. Let's move on. This is Dave Roberts' Yamaha SG. Yeah, beautiful looking guitar. Again, talking about guitars that sort of challenge the big name brands. You had all of those kind of lawsuit Tokais and Ibanezes, didn't you? And then Yamaha just pretty much kind of ate Gibson's lunch when they brought out this guitar. It's I've got a, well, I don't have it now, but I remember having a Thin Lizzy poster on my wall back in the mid 80s, where both Scott Gorham and it must have been Brian Robertson were both using Yamaha SGs. Fantastic guitars. I don't think I've ever owned. I might have owned one briefly, because back when I was at college, I used to kind of trade and kind of, I'd sometimes own a guitar for a matter of days, let alone weeks. But I possibly owned one. I can't remember at the moment, but I've got gas for one now. Anyway, this is a 1981 SG-1000 that Dave Roberts imported from Japan last year. Beautiful looking guitar, and it's really given me a serious case of gas. Then Dinger 63, his Rally GL450. He sent me this picture in response to my comments about the PRS racing pigeons, the PRS birds on the neck, and saying he actually titled his email "Neck Graffiti," which is, I'll tell you what would happen to me on that neck. I would get lost. Unless there's some kind of seriously noticeable side dot markers there, I would be just, I would be all at sea. I mean, I get why people love that ornate look. It looks sort of opulent, and, it looks like $1 million. It looks like you paid a lot of money for that guitar. Indie guitars, talking about them earlier, they had several models that had that sort of ostentatious look about them. It's not my cup of tea. I'll be honest with you. I'm not going to pretend it is. It's just not. But it is the kind of thing that I can see why people love. And you get up on stage with a guitar like that at your average pub gig, and people are going to think, yeah, he's doing all right for himself, isn't he? That doesn't look like a cheap instrument. And I've never heard of. I don't think I've ever really paid a lot of attention to Rally guitars, but I do know they're a budget brand, and that is. It looks, I mean, from this picture, it really does look like, a good example of the breed, although it's just not something that I'm particularly into. Anyway, let's have a look at some Malcolm Spillett guitars. Excuse me, I'm just having a little bit of lubrication there. This is a Strandberg copy, which is a pretty close copy by the looks of it. Not sure what the bridge is that's on there. And I think it came with a Strandberg case, or perhaps that's just, I don't know I can't remember where Malcolm said he got this guitar from, but he did stipulate that it was a copy. And I wonder if it's got the Endure neck, which now I've got a functioning kind of left hand. I'm going to call up a mate of mine and see if I can borrow his Strandberg 6-string to see how I would get on with that neck. But, yeah, I'll reserve judgment on all things Strandberg until I've had the chance to actually play one. And this is, what I think one of the reissues of the Watkins Rapier, one of the guitars that back in the 60s, us poor plebs in the UK had to satisfy ourselves with because there wasn't that import ban on American. On I think it was just American goods, or was it all foreign goods, just to sort of reboot the economy of the manufacturing economy in the UK. Anyway, Fender guitars were difficult to get in the 60s in the UK. Famously, Hank Marvin had the first Fender Stratocaster in the UK, bought from by Cliff Richard. But, these were the kind of guitars, the alternatives that we had, and they're held in a very, very high affection by many, many players of a certain vintage. And they've just been reissued, but, kind of with that same sort of vintage, old school look, but with kind of proper modern kind of build quality. Yeah. It's quirky enough that I'm kind of starting to think, yeah, maybe. Watch this space. I'll let you know if I fancy grabbing one of those. I love the little, if we scrolling up there, I love the little kind of 60s kind of rondelle up there, the sort of mod logo. That really kind of places it in time, doesn't it? Then we've got a couple of guitars from the chap who very kindly drew my caricature that you see on all of the video thumbnails and everything. Pete, very talented artist, and he's got millions of guitars, I think. And here is his Gretsch Electromatic G5422T and his Eastman AR503CE. Yeah, beautiful guitars, but, please, guitar manufacturers, give your guitars names, right? The AR503CE sounds like it could be, a model of fax machine, if such things still exist. But beautiful pair of guitars. I mean, this one here that just makes you want to kind of grow your hair and comb it into a quiff and become Brian Setzer, doesn't it? Then this is Fiend Tunes' guitar, the very chap himself in the chat. This is his, I think this looks like a 90s Strat Deluxe. You've certainly got the lace sensor pickups there and that big old roller nut that briefly appeared in the 90s until they kind of sort of slimmed it down and kind of came up with a slightly better or more kind of ergonomic design. But despite what I said earlier about green guitars, that looks really rather nice, doesn't it? And then Robster Boy, who was holding his camera the wrong way around again. This is his SG. It is an SG. It is an Epiphone. I've never seen that Epiphone logo before. That's not a familiar looking Epiphone logo, but it does, unless it's, some kind of, I don't think it is a knockoff, but it's not an Epiphone logo that, where's that gone to? Sorry, let's go back to there. That's not an Epiphone logo that I remember ever seeing before. And yeah, whatever it is a guitar that Robster absolutely adores, because I have a weekly lesson with him, which will be tomorrow, Saturday. And this is usually the guitar that he's playing in said lessons. And then you briefly saw a clip of this. This is Timbo's Epiphone Les Paul. He said this is the guitar that he keeps at the office. Epiphone Les Paul standard. I fixed the snap neck, and it's the guitar I keep at work. You can see the little annotation that he's got there. It's lovely to have a job where you can pick up, where you can just kind of in your idle moments just pick up the guitar and play it. I'd love to have a job like that. Oh, hang on, yes, I've got one, haven't I? Anyway, there you go. That's this week's selection. A fine selection it is. So if you have any guitars that you'd like to see in the gallery, I'm going to try and figure out a way of doing the gallery music as we're kind of doing this. then send them over to me, jrguitartuition@gmail.com. JR for John Robson, Guitar Tuition, that's what I do. All of that is one word, jrguitartuition@gmail.com. And who knows, your favourite acts, your pride and joy could show up on the show. Anyway, chaps, I need another beer. And another thing I've got written down here, a couple of things. First of all, I'm doing it again. I'm doing it again after Practical Music Theory for the Rock Guitarist and after the Blues Guitar Bible, which was only finished relatively recently. I've got the writing bug. I'm doing a new one. I'm doing another book. It's going to be same format, PDF, PDF with clickable links to video and audio content and Guitar Pro and PDF tabs. Same format. If you're one of the very, very kind people who's bought either of the other two publications, then you'll know the kind of format that I'm talking about. I'm doing a new one. It's called simply How to Play Melodic Rock Lead Guitar. That's what that's going to be about. I'm 2,600 words in at the moment. And the topics that are going to be covered will be, well, basically everything that you want to know if you want to play like David Gilmour, Mark Knopfler, Carlos Santana, Michael Schenker, Slash, all of the kind of melodic rock lead guitar players. That's what we're going to be looking at. And essentially I've broken ground on that project, and I'll keep you posted as to when it's nearing completion. And then I think that will be it, because I've done my three areas of expertise are music theory, blues, and melodic rock. So that's, kind of, I can't really think that I've got much else to give after that. So anyway, let's have a look and see what's been going on in the chat, and then I've got another announcement to make. Boulder 64. There's a chap who grew up in the same generation as me. I wonder if you can get a good effect from rally guitar by wedging an ice lolly stick between the strings. Yeah, to many people that will be completely incomprehensible. But rally, notice how it's spelt here, as in Sir Walter Raleigh. Rally bicycles were just the sort of pretty much the only bikes you could buy in the 70s. When you were a kid, you had a rally chopper, or you had a rally grifter, or you had a rally kind of drop handlebar racing bike. I can't remember what if you were one of the sad lads, you had one of the rally shoppers, that was like sort of the one that folded in half. So it could be put in the car, but that was your old lady. That was an old lady's bicycle. I think it actually came fitted as standard with a wickerwork basket on the front. The trick was to get an ice lolly stick and wedge and kind of wedge it between on the frame, so that it kind of clattered on the spoke, completely knackered your spokes and your wheels. But if you pedalled fast enough, it sounded like a two-stroke engine, and you could pretend you were riding a motorbike. So yes, that's happy memories there, Balder. Nice one. Steve Cassidy saying you could do a country book. I could, but country is a style of music that I bluff my way through. I've played in a few country bands over the years, and all I do is just play me regular blues licks, but with a clean sort of slightly compressed sound with a bit of slapback delay, and and it sounds close enough to country, and just make sure you do enough double stops. Maidman 74. How many smashed knees came from a grifter slip gear? I'm with you there, mate. Yes. I'm probably slightly older than you. I had the rally chopper, with a big sort of kind of chopper handlebars. It wasn't a bike you could ever win the Tour de France on, but it made you look cool, you know. And the one that you had to have, because it was the 70s, was the purple one with the yellow lettering, and you know, and you'd kind of customize it with some sort of go faster stripes and stuff. Oh, happy memories. Anyway, yeah, I told you I've got another announcement. It's been about 5 years since I started the Patreon thing, and it's going to very shortly undergo a revamp. There's been a few stories in the news in the UK recently where let's just say that the term two-tier has become something of a negative connotation, and that's about as political as I'm going to get on here. But essentially, I'm going to be going two-tier. There's going to be a second tier of Patreon membership coming soon. I haven't quite worked out what it's going to be, but it's basically all basically on Patreon at the moment. If you join my Patreon, you get one of my courses free. Okay, your choice. The courses are slide guitar, beginner lead guitar, a little bit more advanced lead guitar. There's a Dave Gilmore course and a couple of others. Anyway, so you get like all of the tabs and backing tracks and everything that I mention in all of the videos. You get a free course, and you get an exclusive monthly Patreon exclusive lesson that never goes anywhere near YouTube, and is just for the Patreon subscribers. So the higher tier will get all of that stuff, and what I've got in my diary at the moment is a free slot. 7 p.m. on a Tuesday evening is free. It keeps kind of getting taken, and then the people kind of want to move it. I don't know what it is about 7 p.m. on a Tuesday, but that slot always ends up being empty. So I'm trying to monetize it. So what I'm thinking of doing is every Tuesday, the slightly higher tier members of the new Patreon tier I'm going to put in will get all of the benefits that you already know about for Patreon, plus a monthly Zoom call. Well, let's say twice monthly Zoom call with me. And, you know, it can be like just a mass Zoom call with all of the people who've signed up, where it can be a Q&A, live session with me, you know, maybe kind of doing little kind of lesson snippets in there. The format, I'm sure, will evolve as we go on. But yes, that's what I'm thinking of doing. The new price will be, I think I'm going to just round it up to a nice, you've got the $3 tier. I'm just going to round it up to a nice, I think, $5 tier. And we'll see how that goes. I'm going to be putting that in place for either next month, September, or the month. It depends how much of a faff around it is to set it up on Patreon. I remember setting the Patreon thing up in the first place was, shall we say, not exactly friction free. So we'll see how that goes, but it is coming soon. Ravensmead, Dorothy's friend like a chopper. Boulder 64, black ball gear change or throttle on the chopper. That sort. Yeah. I had the kind of gear shift down on the crossbar down here. That little 3-speed, that looks a bit suspect. I'm sat on YouTube doing that, doesn't it? But you know, I'm talking about changing gears on a chopper bike. So yeah, that was just on the crossbar. That little 3-speed Sturmey Archer kind of gear shift there. And what else have we got? Let's have a look. Anton saying, great idea, count me in. Great idea. Lots of positive reactions to this. Mark Farr, he's in. Better late than never. You'll catch the rest of it on catch up, mate. And while I'm here, when you kind of log into StreamYard every week, it says, don't forget to thank people who are watching on catch up. And I always forget. So if you're watching on catch up, thank you for watching. Let's have a look. Dr. Gomez, I had the chipper, which was like the sort of the baby version of the chopper. Hit a curb and ruptured myself on the crossbar. Ravensmead, how about a top 5 cartoon themes? Can I suggest rhubarb and custard? I remember it well, mate. On your chopper, did you have a leather jacket? No, I had a PVC jacket that was meant to look like a leather jacket. One of those very, very 70s leather jackets with the elasticated waist. And it looked like Fonzie's jacket on Happy Days. And that's all I really wanted. Blue Sofa Songs had an orange chopper. Chip Young, how about a book aimed before the first one for us sausage-fingered plebs? Now, there's an idea. I don't know why that didn't occur to me in the first place. Just do an introductory kind of beginner's guitar book. I could do that. The only thing that springs to mind that would kind of be a little bit of a kibosh on that is that because of the gammy finger that I've got nowadays, I've had to adapt how I play the guitar. And the thing that I've had to adapt the most are the kind of cowboy chords, open chords, the beginner chords, basically. So any demonstrations I might give, like in the audio and visual content, might be a little bit misleading to a beginner. So that might be, leave that one with me. But the next one is definitely how to play melodic rock lead guitar. I am 2,600 and odd words into it at the moment. And it's just, I've got the writing bug. I just really enjoy doing it. It's, I can fire up the laptop and just, well, the other because I'm on a laptop now, but I've got a little 150 quid Acer Aspire from Cash Converters. I mean, the battery life on it is toast, but it doesn't matter because I'm sat next to electrical plug socket, so I can just use it plugged in all the time if I want to. But 150 quid for a decent laptop, you can't can't turn your nose up at that, can you? I sit downstairs on a Friday when I've got no lessons. I'm dog sitting with Dougal. Wifey's out selling the jewellery on the market, and I'm just writing another book. And it's just got Steve Cassidy on the telly while I'm watching that, and like one or two other. It is the time when I kind of catch up on me YouTube guitar videos and just kind of have the closest to what I think of as a day off. Top 5 bass line, says Jay Ao Young. Now, that's a brilliant idea. I'm amazed I haven't done that video already. That one is definitely coming up. Expect it sometime kind of maybe second half of September, because that's how far I am in advance with these videos. Anyway, we've got a couple of minutes left or thereabouts. Magic Roundabout theme tune. Ivor, what are you saying there, mate? A fourth writing project book could be some short stories about the time on the road with bands. I suppose I could. I suppose I've told most of those stories on YouTube though, like playing the gig to the Whippet. That was an entertaining evening, has to be said. A load of suggestions for cartoon theme tunes. John Robson guitar, the James Patterson of Red. I've never really been into James Patterson. I've always been more of a Tom Clancy chap myself. Anyway, 59 minutes plus change in. Go and grab yourselves another beer and go and watch Steve Cassidy's video, because his latest offering is coming out in just a few seconds' time. That's it from me for tonight. Thank you for turning up and watching a fat bald dad from up north talk absolute cobblers for an hour. It's been a blast, and I'll keep on doing it till you're sick of me. But for now, time, gentlemen, please.